If you look at Infosys, it began on a wing, a prayer, and a sum of $250 in 1981, which was rupees 10,000 then. And now, we are commemorating 40 years of this company. Today it has a market cap of $83 to $84 billion, revenues of over 16 billion, and it has an employee count of 3.35 lakh globally. When you all started up, did you ever imagine it would become this huge, iconic, revered corporation that it is today?
Well, before I say anything else, I must express my deep gratitude to every one of the Infosians and ex-Infosians who have played such an important role in transforming that fuzzy picture of 1981 to this beautiful, masterful art of 2022, that is whatever 84 billion that you spoke about. Having said that, right from the first day that the seven of us sat down in my one-bedroom apartment in Mumbai, after a long discussion of 3 hours, we came to the unanimous conclusion that respect from our stakeholders was going to be our number one target. Respect from customers, respect from employees, respect from investors, respect from government of the land, respect from vendor partners, and respect from the society. So therefore, I have never bothered about numbers like the market cap and profitability, etc. What I have been bothering about the entire 32 years that I was in charge of the company was whether we were obtaining increasing respect from our stakeholders. That's what I...
Mrs. Murthy, you in a sense are India's most successful angel investor. And I say this because you parted with $250 in 1981, and that sum has given outsized returns today. But when you gave that money to Mr. Murthy, were you worried what was going through your mind? Because this was actually his second venture. He started up Softronics in the mid-70s. It did not take off. He took up a corporate job at Putney. Then the startup bug, I think, bit him again. And you gave him that seed money. So, literally, figuratively, you were the angel and are the angel in his life.
Well, my mother told me when I was married, you should always keep some money, and this money should be used only in emergency. Not to buy sari, not to buy gold or anything, in emergency. And I used to keep every month some money from Murthy than my salary, and without Murthy's knowledge, okay, in a box. And it was 10,250. When Murthy described the importance of software revolution, along with history of the, why we lost revolution, etc., I said, well, what is this emergency if I consider? Here the young man, he has dreams. Whether it will happen, fulfill or not, I do not know. But I knew he was a hard-working person, and he wants to do something. That this is an emergency. And if I don't give, then throughout his life he will regret. Regret is worse than failure. It doesn't matter. In case he fails, fine, we accept it. And you can take up a job. But regretting, I wish I could have done, that is worse. So I gave him only 10,250, I kept it again inside.
Let me add a little bit to that. See, the reality is the following. what happened was, we were a group of 7 people. 4 of us had our part of the equity, which was really very small. But 3 of my colleagues, I don't want to mention their name because that's not relevant, did not even have that small amount of money. So I didn't want them to feel bad, or I didn't want to start the company with equity only by these guys, by these 4 people. So I hit upon my well-practiced idea of dipping into the pocket of my wife and convinced her to give the entire 10,000, because I didn't want any distinction between individual A and individual B. So that's how, and all these people returned the money in a matter of 6 to 9 months. So it got stuck that she was the angel investor. She was in some sense the angel investor because the other 3 didn't have the money. That's the reality.
Mr. Murthy, what is also very different is that, you started up at the age of 35. These days we hear accounts of students starting up in college hostels, but you started up at the age of 35. You were married by then. You were also a parent, I think. Did that inhibit your risk-taking abilities in any way as an entrepreneur? What was your safety net?
Well, my wife was my safety net. She was much more qualified than me. In fact, much more qualified than all the founders. I mean, if you look at her credentials, her scholarship for PhD, her rank at IASC, all of that, she was clearly, she was number 1. And the fact that she was in one of India's best companies, Telco, itself was my safety net, number 1. Number 2, I have grown up in a house of 8 children, with father being mostly a teacher. So we were not unduly worried about hardship. We were brought up in an environment of hardship. So that was not the thing. Third, my mother brought us up with an independent set of mind. For example, when I went to France, I would write a postcard once in 6 weeks. That's it. She wouldn't know what's happened to me, whether I'm well, not well, etc.
There's no WhatsApp tracking like...
No, nothing of the kind, nothing of. Therefore, I would say that the fact that Sudha had a job which was very well paying, of course she gave it up later because we had to move to Pune. The fact that my family had brought me up with an independent set of mind, the fact that we were quite used to a certain level of hardship is what gave me confidence to go through that. Yeah.
And how did having her by your side, shoulder to shoulder in the initial years help? Because I remember before she stepped away, all of you used to build this company together. And she was there at all the crucial moments for you. Because the entrepreneurial journey can get lonely at the top. So how did having Mrs. Murthy by your side help you during those tough times, the lonely times?
I mean, it was extremely useful. As you know, a leader is very lonely. And he or she will latch on to anybody that supports him or her. All my colleagues were abroad doing what they were best at, project management, design, programming, and all of that. And I was alone in India. Of course, my colleague Raghavan was in India. And I had to get the license, I had to arrange a loan for the computer, I had to change the location, I had to get my court to leave the premises. These were by no means easy ones in 1980s. And whenever I had a problem, I always turned to my wife. Even in 1995, when I took a decision to respectfully decline to renew the contract with a Fortune 10 company, I realized that I will have to probably travel 250 to 300 days in a year. The first person that I called after I took that decision, and before I informed everybody, I called her and said, look, will you be able to handle the children, because I'm going to be, for the next 3 years, I'm going to be working like there is no tomorrow. And she has always been very supportive. Therefore, it is absolutely true that she has been a great supporter of the dream of Infosys and my dream. Yeah.
Would you like to add to that, ma'am?
Oh, what is there? Because I realized a person like Murthy, who eats, breathes, drinks Infosys, will not have time for any other thing. Second thing, in olden days, Munis used to go to, Rishis used to go to forest and do tapas. Today is a modern tapas, that you have to work 24/7 for your company. Then there is a possibility that it may do well. It may do well. And he has to give his best for that. So I accepted it, and I was very fortunate. Downstairs, my parents and my doctor sister stayed. Upstairs, we stayed. So I had the family support of my parents and my sister. So it was not that lonely. They will come, we will eat together, go out together. But Murthy was not there. That's so fine. You have to get something. You have to give something.
You were not bitter about it?
Not at all, even to this day. Never. That's not my nature.
There's no free lunch.
Except mother's love.